Hey guys, this is Clay from EncoreInstruction.com, and in today's lesson we're going to take a look at the Nashville Number System. This video is an accompaniment to a tutorial that I've already written on my website. So check out the link below and it'll take you to my website and you'll be able to find this. It's a PDF of a bunch of examples that we're going to look at. Now I want you to follow along with my written tutorial as I talk about each point on this video. So let's get started. Chapter 1 is all about the single chord. The single chord is the most common item that you'll come across in a number chart. When you see a chord or a number by itself, then that chord gets a full measure. In our example, that'll be 4 beats. So the first chord we come across in example 1 is a G chord. So it's going to get 4 beats. And then the next chord is a C chord. It gets 4 beats, and so on. So let's play through example 1 at 80 beats a minute, and then I'll play through it again at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four. In Chapter 2, we're going to look at minor chords. In the number system, every chord or number that you come across is assumed to be major unless it's denoted as a minor chord. And the way you do that is above and to the right of the chord, you see a small M or you see a dash. In example 2, the third measure in is an E, and above and to the right is a little M, so it's an E minor. In the fifth measure, the A has a minor 7, so it's an A minor 7. If you look at page 2 of the handout, you'll see that it's a E dash and an A dash 7. It means the same thing. Both of them mean minor. So let's play through example 2 at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. In Chapter 3, we introduce split chords. Now, split chords is when you take a chord, let's say a D chord, and you replace the lowest note, the root note, with a substitution note. So if we take a look here, we have a D chord, and we're going to replace the root note with the F sharp, which is the second fret of the 6th string with your thumb. If you're a piano player, then you'll play a chord with your right hand and you'll change that left hand note to the bottom note. Now the way that it's written, if you look at the example, you see the third measure is D over F sharp. That's the way it's spoken. So you have D with a slash, F sharp. So when you see that, then that is a split chord. And that also happens in the 6th measure with a G over B. And if you don't know, if you come across split chords and you don't know them, just look them up on the internet and you'll be able to figure out how to play them on the instrument of your choice. Now, one thing to note, bass players always play the bottom note. Let's take a look at example 3 at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. In Chapter 4, we introduce the split measure, or split bar. Now what this means is that we have 2 chords or more sharing one measure. In the previous 3 examples, every measure got 4 beats, but not so with split bars. So if you look at example 4, the third measure, you see a C and a D underlined. Now the underline means that they share a measure. So C gets 2 beats, D gets 2 beats. Pretty straightforward, so let's just play through the example at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chapter 5 introduces the uneven split bar. In the previous example, the C and the D shared a measure evenly. But if we wanted to add 3 chords into 4 beats, then we have to come up with a way to denote which chord gets how many beats. So in example 5, the third measure, the C chord and the D chord are underlined, so they share a measure. Above the C chord, you'll see 3 hash marks. So that C chord gets 3 beats. The D gets 1 beat. It has 1 hash mark above it. And then in measure 7, we have C with 1 beat, D with 2 beats, C with 1 beat. So let's just play through that example and it'll be a little more clear. So let's do it at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. In Chapter 6, we're going to look at what's labeled as time signatures, but really that's kind of an ambiguous term. Really what I'm trying to get across is that some measures don't take up 4 beats. So the song can be written in 4/4, which means 4 beats to a measure, but we may have one measure that only has 2 beats, or we may have a measure that has 3 beats. Now the best way to write this is with a box around the chord. If you look at the example 6, the third measure, the D chord, has a box around it, so that's 1 full measure. Whatever's in the box is 1 measure. And the D chord gets 2 beats because there's 2 hash marks. And then when you get to the G chord, the 4th measure, it goes back to 4 beats per measure. The 6th measure, the A minor, has 3 hash marks above it, so it gets 3 beats. Let's play through the example at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chapter 7 introduces hits and holds. A hit is when you strike a chord and immediately choke the sound. A hit is written with a black triangle above the chord, or above the number, either one. And it sounds like this. If we wanted to play a hit on a G chord, we would play this. Now a hold is when you play a chord and let it ring over, or let it carry over the length specified in the music. So let's take a look at the example. The first measure, the G chord, has a diamond above it. Now a diamond is how you write a hold. So if I was to play the G chord and then start into the C chord, it would sound like this. Okay, so let's play through the example at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that last thing I did there was the fermata. Written above the last measure is a bird's eye fermata. If you're familiar with standard sheet music, then you'll know what that symbol means. But it means you play the G chord and you let it ring and let it go and let it go and you hold it until you're directed to cut it off. Whether it's a band member, like the drummer, will do a fill and he'll end on a cymbal crash or something, and everybody ends at the same time. Chapter 8 is all about the push. Now the push is when you play a chord earlier than what it's written. The best way to learn this is just to hear it. So let me play the beginning of example 8. The second measure, the E minor, is played half a beat early. A push is always half a beat early. So we have 4 beats of G, and we play the E minor half a beat early. Let me play those two measures, G and E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you see there is that the E minor is played an eighth note early, or half a beat early. And then we also see in measure 6 that the A minor is played half a beat early, but it shares a measure with the G chord. So the A minor is played on the and of 2 in that measure. So let me play through the example at 100 beats a minute, and you'll be able to feel the push more so than really just trying to read it. Just try to feel the push. That's the best way I can describe it for you. So let's play through it at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chapter 9 covers standard music notation. Now, it's not all-encompassing. I only touch on the highlights. But what I wanted to show here was that you can use repeats, codas, you can use crescendos, decrescendos, first endings, second endings. A lot of the stuff that you would see in standard sheet music can be used with the number system. In this example, we're using it with chord letters, but the same applies with numbers. So let's take a look at the example. We see 4 measures and then a repeat back to the beginning with a first ending and a second ending. And on the second ending, we see a crescendo underneath the E minor. And then we see a retard on the next to last measure, a retard going into a fermata. So when the metronome is going to keep going past the retard, and I'll turn it off when we hit the fermata. So let's just play through the example, example 9, at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that we've got a lot of the format stuff out of the way, let's take a look at the heart of the number system, the numbers. Now the numbers are based on the major scale. Now the major scale for the key of G is the following: G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, back to G. If you've seen The Sound of Music, you should know the major scale. It's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So pretty simple. Don't make it harder than it is. Now for every note in the major scale, we're going to assign a number. So if I was to play the major scale again with numbers, it would be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in the key of G, a 4 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Would be a C chord. So if you see a 4, you'd play a C chord. If you see a 5, a D chord. If you see a 5 over 7, that would be a D chord over F sharp. So you've got a pretty decent handle on the G scale. So if we wanted to change to another scale, let's say the C chord, the key of C, the C major scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So a 1 in the key of C would be would be a C. A 4 in the key of C would be F. A 5 in the key of C would be G. A 1 over 3 in the key of C would be C over E. and so on. But let's get back to the key of G. The last thing to know is, how do you write a chord that's outside of the major scale? Because the G major scale does not contain an F. It has an F sharp and it has an E. The way we do that is we find the note that's 1/2 step higher than the note we're looking for. What does that mean? We want an F, but F's not in the G major scale. So let's go to the next higher note that's 1/2 step above, which is F sharp. In the key of G, that's a 7. So if we wanted an F chord, we would write flat 7. So you take your 7 and you flat the 7, which means it goes down a 1/2 step. So in example 10, if you're looking at the numbers page, not the chord page, the numbers page, the 5th measure is a flat 7, and that'll be an F chord. Let's just use example 10 as a test of what we've learned so far. It's got pretty much everything that we've done so far in it. The only addition is the next to last measure is a G suspended into a G chord. So let's just have fun with example 10 at 100 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our look at the number system today. We've looked at the format of the number system, and we've also looked at the numbers themselves and how each number represents a chord in the major scale. So if you need any further help, you have a couple of options. One is practice. The best way to practice with number charts is to play to number charts. There's a link in the description of this video to my website, and I have a ton of free song charts that I've written in numbers. So check those out and play along with them. And for you acoustic guitar players out there, make sure you use a capo to get to the right key. It'll make things much easier. I also have 2 recommendations on my website for these 2 books. The first one is Song Charting Made Easy, written by Jim Riley. He is the drummer for Rascal Flatts. It has a bunch of examples, a bunch of different song examples. Comes with an audio CD. Also on the audio CD is a bunch of backing tracks. So if you're a drummer, let's say, you can pull out the drums and play along with the chart with no drums. If you can only buy one book, I would suggest buying the Nashville Number System by Chaz Williams. Chaz is a studio musician in Nashville, and he's written a bunch of instrumental songs in different genres. And he's got the charts in the back of the book. Now the front of the book is very similar to what we did today, but it's much more in depth. See if I can find something here for you. He goes through a lot of different things that we didn't have time to cover. Modulations, key changes, all sorts of stuff. So the first half of the book is how to read the numbers. The second half of the book is a bunch of examples that he's written, and there's an audio CD that you can play along with. Well, that's pretty much it. Hope you've enjoyed it, and just buy these books, go to my website, print out a bunch of those song charts, and lock yourself in your room until you learn it. So we'll see you next time.